Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this you will learn about high-level entity relationship diagram. Now when we talk about ERD or entity relationship diagram, there is not much use in Dynamics 365 as compared to the custom build applications that you build from scratch. But you might need to create ERD in specific scenarios that we will discuss in this video. So let's first understand what is an ERD. It is the main component in designing database structure. So as you might know, for developing any application or software, you need to first create database structure, and then only other components like business logic, user interface, and integrations come into picture. So ERD is a very important component in developing an application. ERD shows how two entities relate or connect to each other. When you are building an application or any solution, you will have a database. So in that you will have multiple tables or structures, right? And they will be relationship. Then only you will be able to derive reports, you will be able to create transactions, and you need to define how these two tables or entities relate to each other. So ERD helps you get that information. In a typical entity relationship diagram, you can define these entities and connection between those using shapes and connectors. So you can define rectangles, which shows the entities, and also you can define connectors that basically connect two different entities, right? And also represent that how they are connected. They are connected in one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship, or many-to-many relationship. So we'll talk about relationship in the coming videos, how many records of one entity can be connected to another entity. It can be just one-to-one or one-to-many, or can be many-to-many scenario. In Dynamics 365 implementation and development, ERD can be very useful, especially when you are building new functionalities or creating integrated solutions. So when you are working with Dynamics 365, you are going to use customization module to build new entities, new fields. You are going to define relationships. So there is not much access to the database, like don't need to write SQL queries and those kind of things for creating and defining the structures, but there will be an interface, a user interface that you will use to build those integrations and functionalities. So as a strategy that we also follow in our projects is first ERD, then actual design and development. Because when you are building an application, you must first know how the application will look like, how the data will flow from one place to another, and also how different entities will connect and work together. So first we define ERD, and then only we go for designing and development of an application. This strategy can also help you identify relationships, derive scenarios, like there might be multiple scenarios that you will be building, and also find limitations of the design. So when you're building an application, you realize that, okay, you can have only this many records, or there is no scalability of this application. So you will be able to know when you have ERD defined, then based on that, you can make changes and make your application robust and scalable. And please note that ERD is not just helpful in creating, but also maintaining and managing features and functionalities. So let's talk about some of the important terms in ERD which you will be using, even if you're building a custom application or you're working with Dynamics 365. The first one is entity. So entity helps you model and manage business data. So you can consider them as the tables in a database. So in a Dynamics 365, we have CDS, Common Data Service. In that you have entities. So in those entities, you are basically managing business data. The next one is attributes. It holds a single value in an entity. These are also known as fields. So in case if you're working with previous versions of Dynamics 365, which are like CRM 2016 or 2015 or different previous versions, you will see developers use the term called attributes. So this is the same as the field in Dynamics 365 right now. The next one is the primary keys. So it uniquely identifies a record in an entity. Like for each table, you are going to store data, but how will you retrieve the data? Or how will you compare the data? So you need to have each record uniquely defined, right? So you create primary key to uniquely define each record so that you can easily retrieve it, easily do operations on that particular record. In Dynamics 365, it is GUID, which is randomly generated, and you don't see that in Dynamics 365. interface, but it is there in the backend to uniquely identify a record. The next one is relationship. It signifies how two entities relate to each other. So that's what we discussed. That's what ERD is all about. So in Dynamics 365, we have one to n. N means one to many, and n to n means many to many. You will also see something called n to one, which is similar to one to n, but seen from the related entity. So you can define these relationships. So a simple example can be a new bank account entity that has been created and how it relates to accounts entity. So in Dynamics 365, you already have an entity called accounts. It basically represents an organization or company that you work with, or can be your customer, can be your partner. So that is an account entity, and you create another entity called bank accounts based on your requirements. So how these two entities relate to each other? Here we have account entity, and in this account ID is the primary key, and then the new entity that we have created, which is called new underscore bank account. In this, the primary key is new bank account ID, which is like uniquely identify a record, and it also has an owner ID. It means who is the owner of this particular record, whatever records you will create in bank account, and it also has a relationship of a field of new account ID. So you have a 1 to n relationship between account and bank account. So it means that an account can have many bank accounts, right? It means a customer can have many bank accounts, and you can store that in Dynamics 365. This is just a simple example. Once you start working on a project, you will come to these scenarios and you will be able to relate much more. So make sure you check the resources where you will see something about metadata diagram tool, which you can use to generate diagrams. And in the resources, you will see an example also on how the entity relationship diagram looks like when you have actually defined it for a functionality. It will not be just two entities relate to each other, but there will be multiple entities, and there will be a relationship between them, 1 to n or many to many relationships. So that's it all about high level entity relationship diagram. I hope you get the basic overview of it, and I think that's something you must know for the exam, as well as for learning and building a new application, or even working with Dynamics 365 customizations. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this, you will learn how you can create and document mockups. So in the previous video, you learned about entity relationship diagrams and why ERDs are important and what are different components that are inside an ERD. Now it's time for you to start working on the application or building of the application. But before you can actually start designing or developing or coding the application, it makes sense to create a mockup that is a kind of prototype that allows you to know how the functionality or how the application will look like, so that you get the gist, and then you can make changes, you can introduce new ideas, and then you can finalize to actually start designing and developing the application. So let's see how you can create and document mockups. So mockups can easily be understood as proof of concepts or prototype with minimal or no functionalities. It means you are going to work on building a solution, but that is just a part of it, a kind of prototype that covers most of the scenarios and doesn't show the actual functionality, but very minimal to make sure that data will flow as expected and the relationships will be defined as expected, the interface looks as expected, right? So those kind of things you can do it in mockup. And it also allows you to visualize a rough sketch of how the actual screens of the application may look like. You know, sometime when you are presenting or suggesting a functionality or new solution to your management or maybe customer, they may not be able to visualize on how it will look, what will be the way they will be using the solution. So until you deliver that particular solution as working model, they will still be in dilemma all the time that how it will look like. Will it work fine? Will it have any challenges? They will always have such questions in their mind, which basically impact the project progress as well as project environment. So it is a good way to create a rough sketch so that they can visualize without you spending much time in actually building the application, and they still get the idea on how it will be. In Dynamics 365 model-driven apps, it won't make much sense to create mockups because the navigation that we have in the Dynamics 365 application, which is a sitemap, is standard. Like, it will not change. Okay, so all you can do is you can create new groups, you can arrange the items, but the navigation will look the same. So with Dynamics 365 model-driven apps, it won't be much of use, but when we are talking about different components that you're building, like Canvas app or portal-based solutions or any custom app, so in these kind of solutions or apps, UI becomes very important because you can completely define as per your requirements the user interface, how it should look like, and user experience, like how the user will navigate and how they will use the application. So in that scenario, it can definitely be useful, and you can create mockups before you can actually start building those apps or portal-based solutions. So to do that, you can use Microsoft Visio to build the mockups. Okay, you don't need to go and work on actual application, but you can use Microsoft Visio to build those mockups and present to the management or the customer in advance. So I would highly recommend you to check the resources section. You will learn more about the new Visio, and also you will be able to sign up for a trial. Plus you can also find a couple of more resources for Visio based CRM UI wireframes. Now please note, these will be from the previous version of Dynamics 365, which are like CRM, but it is still a good idea for you to get the concept of what kind of mockups you can create, right? So that's all about documenting and creating mockups. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this, you are going to learn about configuring settings. Now in configuring settings, we'll be discussing how you can sign up for Dynamics 365 trial and how you can set up environment. Now, it is very important for you to follow the step-by-step instruction when you sign up and set up environment, because I have seen this many times where students or even customers, they sign up for a trial and they can see only one app, maybe Dynamics 365 sales or customer service, but can't see all the other apps in Dynamics 365 interface. So I really want you to pay attention and follow the step-by-step process that I am going to explain you, and you will be able to access all the apps available in this particular trial. So you can register for a 30-day free trial, and you don't need to give any credit card details. All you need is an email address and a phone number, because they are going to verify whether you're a real human or it's a robot. Either use your business email, or you can even use other email providers like Gmail, Yahoo, or other. So I'll show you how you can do that step by step. And once your 30 days of trial is over, you can extend the trial by entering your credit card details in subscription. So it will again extend again for next 30 days, and you can enjoy the trial for next 30 days. Please note that Microsoft will not charge your credit card unless you want. So that's how you can extend your trial. And you can register for Dynamics 365 customer engagement by selecting any of the apps, maybe from sales, customer service, field service, and project service automation. So these are the 4 apps available in customer engagement. So let's see how we can sign up and set up the environment in Dynamics 365. So here I've opened Dynamics 365 trial page. So you can go to trials.dynamics.com. You can find the link in the resources section as well. And this is how the screen will look like. Now Microsoft may choose to change the look and feel of this particular sign up page. So you might see something different, but this is how the page looks like, where you see all the apps. You can just hover your mouse over and see what exactly this app does and what is it all about. So all 4 on the top are related to customer engagement. And then we have finance and operations app, business central, human resources, and retail. So all you need to do is you can select any one of them. So I'm just going to select sales here, scroll down. Now, if you want to sign up using work email, you can do that, like something, your name at yourcompanyname.com or .in or any other domain which is not the free one, right? So you can do that and enter your phone number. But in case if you don't have that and you just want to give Dynamics 365 a try using your Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail, then you definitely need to click on this link called sign up here. Okay, so are you signing up on behalf of a customer or using this trial for development purposes? If yes, then you click here. So I would highly recommend you to click here and start with the sign up process. So let's click sign up here. Then Microsoft will ask you, are you a partner or Microsoft employee? Because there is an optimized experience for you. So if you are, then you can sign in. If you want to register a partner, you can do that, but I would highly recommend you to go ahead with the signing up process and click here. So click no, continue signing up. It will take you to a sign up page. So here's a sign up page. Now by default you will see the country as United States. I would recommend you use the same because Microsoft by default, whenever they release a new update or new features, it is mostly available first in United States and then in other countries based on localization. So if you really want to understand how the product works and what are the new features and how you can use it, then I would say use United States. Otherwise you can choose your own country. So I'm just going to choose United States. Now please note that once you're done, you can't change it, and based on the country you choose, you will have the URL of your environment. It will be like your organization name.crm.dynamics.com, or for example, if I'm signing up from India or I choose India as a country here, it will be my organization name.crm8.dynamics.com. so based on that it changes, and of course the product updates and other features may also differ in some cases. Then enter your first name here, last name. Now here your business email address. It is asking you to enter your business email address, but you can still go ahead with your Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail. So I've entered my email, and now I'm going to enter a phone number. Phone number is also important because it may ask you to verify, and then enter your company name. If you don't have a company, then you can just enter your name itself. Okay, no need to enter any fiction name, you can just use your name. In language you can choose English. For US only 2 languages are supported, but if you choose other country you may see multiple languages. And organization size you can choose based on your requirements. I'm just going to choose 1 person, click next. And now it will ask me to create the organization name or enter the company name and the username. So this will be the username that you will use to log in to Dynamics 365 environment. So I'm just going to enter that, and the company name. Now please note, if you enter a company name which is not available, you will see an error like this. It says not available Microsoft, try different name. So you will have to enter a name which is unique and not been used before. So I'm just going to use it. Now it is available, and now I need to create password and confirm the password. If you like to hear from Microsoft and from other partners, then you can just enable this checkbox and just click create my account. Now before you can continue with the process, it will ask you to verify that you are not a robot. So choose the country for which you have a phone number. So I'm just going to enter my phone number. I'm going to click text me. Now it will send a code on my mobile, so I'm just going to enter that code. I've entered the code and just click next, and now it will complete the sign up process. So you can see that the sign in URL is given, your user ID which is created that you will use to log in, and it's finalizing your sign up. So make sure you save this information, the URL for login, the email ID and the password that you have already chosen. So it's just setting up your account. Let's give it a few seconds. So now you can see the sign up is complete, and all you can do is just click on setup. So just click setup. So now you have completed the sign up process. It's time for you to set it up. So by default you will notice that sales is selected. I would highly recommend you to select all of these. So when you complete this setup process, you will be able to see all these apps in your environment. And here you have the current currency, which is US dollars, by default selected based on the country. If you want to change the currency, you can do that. Please note that this will be the base currency of your organization, so you can't change it later. If you're not sure, just keep it as it is and just click complete setup. Now it will take some time to complete the setting up process. And once the setup is complete, you will be redirected to your Dynamics 365 environment. First time when you open this, you will see all the apps that are published. Please note that don't select the app which is mentioned as web, always select unified interface. So if you want to select Dynamics 365 sales, please select Sales Hub. If you want to work with customer service, then select Customer Service Hub. For project service automation, select Project Service. And for field service, you select Field Service Unified Interface. Okay, you may see other apps as well which you can open and see, but these are the unified interface apps which you will use to access. So let's click Sales Hub. And here you will see Dynamics 365 Sales app is open. So by default, when you're working, you will see only one app at a time. So Dynamics 365 Sales. On the left hand side, you can see all the items here, and then the area you can change. We have Sales, App Settings, Sales Insight Settings, and Help and Support. So these are different areas and the navigation. If you want to work with Dynamics 365 Customer Service, you might want to click this app selector, and here you can select Customer Service Hub. So now you are in Customer Service Hub app, and here also you have different application areas: service, service management, scheduling, training. Right, so that's how you can sign up for Dynamics 365 free trial and also set up so that you see the app that you need. Please note that when you're setting up, make sure you select all the apps. Okay, there is no option to multi-select, like you can select sales and customer service or sales and project service automation. You need to select all of these apps or just one of those. So I would recommend you to select all of these and make sure the currency is right. And once you complete the sign up process, make sure you save the credentials. So if you want to see how many apps are installed, you can go to home.dynamics.com, and there you will see all the apps available. So I've opened here home.dynamics.com, and here you can see all the apps available. Right, so from here also you can open an app. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this you will learn how you can configure out of the box and custom items. So we'll be talking about the apps that are available out of the box when you sign up for Dynamics 365 trial, and also the custom items. So Power Apps allow you to create model-driven apps for Dynamics 365 in case if you want to have a different experience, maybe department-wise, role-wise, then you can create apps specific and choose what are the components you need on sitemap, or what are the entities you want to show, and other areas of Dynamics 365 applications. So Power Apps are a very powerful way to create model-driven apps. And when you sign up for Dynamics 365 trial, some of the out-of-the-box apps are available. One is Sales Hub, which is Dynamics 365 Sales, where it allows you to manage the end-to-end sales process for your organization. Another one is Customer Service Hub, allows you to help your customers, support your customers, and manage service agents. So this gives you the entire customer service functionality. You also have Field Service to manage your mobile workforce and help your customers resolve issues and perform on-site services to your customers. And Project Service Automation, which is project service where you can manage end-to-end projects for your customers and for your organization. So these are some of the common apps which are the core, but there are other apps which you can see in the My Apps section. So when these apps are installed, you can edit these existing apps, and also you can create new apps based on your requirements. Plus you can also create and configure apps component using Power Apps. So what are the components you want to show on sitemap, and what are the entities, dashboards, forms you want to show and include that in particular app. So that's something you can create and configure using Power Apps. So let's see how you can do that in Dynamics 365. So one way you can see all the apps that are available under Dynamics 365 Home. So you can open home.dynamics.com. If you are not logged in, it will ask you to enter your credentials that you have used for signing up, and then it will show all the apps. So the major ones are Customer Service Hub, Field Service, Project Service, and Sales Hub. Other than this, you also have other apps that are available. So if you want to see that, you can just click on them and see. So I'm just going to click, for example, Customer Service Hub. and it will open the app that is available. Now, in case if I want to modify this particular app, or if I want to create new apps, you need to go to settings and under that my apps. So you can click on this settings icon and click advanced settings. So you will see Dynamics 365 settings here, where you can configure the application as well as other components. So you can just click on this particular icon and you can see the settings related to business, customization, system, process center, applications, and upgrade logs. So this is by default. You will see, if you want to see all the apps, you can click my apps, and here you will see all the apps. Now you can do multiple things here. You can modify or you can even create a new app. So let's click customer service. You can see these three dots, which is more options, and there it allows you to open this particular app in app designer, or you can manage roles. So manage role basically allows you to show this particular app to a specific kind of people. So who should have access to this app? You can select the security roles, and only those users who have that security role will be able to access. So for example, if I want to give access to, say, customer service scheduler and customer service representative, I can just select and just click save here. So now any user who has the security role will be able to access this particular app. Another thing you can do is you can open this in app designer. So let's click open in app designer. And here you can see the designing components and the properties. So the first section is sitemap. So if you want to edit this sitemap, you can just click on this pencil icon, and here it is. So here you have the area, which is, you can see in your interface on the left below side. So here you can see service management, scheduling, training. So this is the area where you have service management, scheduling, and training. These are areas. Under that you have groups. So my work, customers, and service are the groups under service area, and under service area, my work group, you have sub area called dashboard and activities. Similarly, when you click service management area, you will see these groups and sub areas. So like this, you can define, if you want to remove something, you can just do that. You can select one and you can delete it. If you want to clone it, you can use the clone feature. You can add new by clicking plus here. So I'll just click sub area, and now it is going to add it here. I can also drag and drop to arrange them as per my requirements. I can just give it a name. So I can select that what is the type. Is it a dashboard, entity, web resources, or URL? Based on that, system will give me the other options. So if I select entity, it will ask me to select an entity. I can, for example, say select account, and I can just give it a title if I want, and that's it. That's how it is. So whenever I click on this particular sub area in the applications, accounts entity will open. So like this, you can customize this entire sitemap, and it will be available for your app. So you can click app designer to see all. Similarly, you can click on dashboard to see how many dashboards you want to show on this particular app. You can select from right the business processes, and for each entity you can select how many forms you want to show. So this particular form, all the views you want to see, all the charts you want to see, and the dashboards. Similarly, if you have any custom entities, you can add that particular custom entity by clicking here, and these are called artifacts. So you can add entities, you can add dashboards, you can add business process flows, and under each entity you can add forms, views, charts, and dashboards. So this basically allows you to design apps or customize the existing apps. Similarly, you have properties available. So this is the property of app. So you can change the name of the app, the other details. And the same thing you can add from the right hand side. And if you want to add entities from right hand side, you can just click on that particular artifact, entities artifact, and it will allow you to select which are the entities you want to show in this app. Right? Once you are done with this, you can just click save, and finally you can click publish. Make sure you validate it before you can publish so that you don't see any errors. If you have any warnings or errors, you make sure you correct them. Okay, and then only you can publish. So you can see the dependencies here, and you can see that these are the required components for case. So maybe you want to add those things and then publish. Or if it's warning, you can just ignore it and click publish, it's gonna publish your app and the users will start to see the updated version. So like this, you can modify any existing app, plus you can also create a new app by clicking create new app. Here you can give it a name. So for example, let's say test app. And do you want to use any existing solution to create an app or the blank one? You can choose that. And if you want to enable this particular app to be available on mobile offline, you can select that as well. You can just select the solution, then click next. And here you need to select which solution you want to use for creating this particular app. I'll just choose default common data solution and I can just click done. And here you can again do everything from scratch. If you want, you can configure the sitemaps. You can define areas, groups, sub areas and other things. Once you're done, you can just publish this particular app and start using it. So that's how you can work with Dynamics 365 apps. You can customize them and you can also create new and give access to users by defining the security roles here. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, you will see different templates available in Dynamics 365, and in the upcoming videos, I'm going to explain you each one in detail. So let's see that. Before you understand how you can create templates and different types of templates available, it is important for you to understand how these templates make life easy and are really helpful to the users in Dynamics 365. So Dynamics 365 support different type of templates for creating standardized documents. It means you can create documents like quotations, invoices, orders, those kind of templates you can create and you can send it to the customer or can be used for internal processes. It can also be used for analyzing data. You can export the data into different formats and you can analyze the data by creating charts, pivots and other things. You can also use Dynamics 365 templates for standardized emails, so you don't have to keep writing the same kind of email again and again, and you can just reuse them and send it. And there are other templates available inside Dynamics 365. So some of these templates are Word templates, which can be used for standardizing documents. We have Excel templates for analysis and reporting. We have email templates for sending emails to clients or other people. We have mail merge templates. We have article templates. And then we have entitlements or contract templates. So once you have these templates available, you can reuse them and it saves a lot of time. So let's discuss these in the upcoming videos and I'm going to show you an example of each one. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this you will learn how you can create Excel templates and use it for powerful analysis of Dynamics 365 data. As you know that Microsoft Excel provides powerful ways to analyze data, and when it integrates with Dynamics 365, the same you can do with Dynamics 365 data. So you will be able to analyze data, you will be able to get information in your favorite tool, Microsoft Excel, and you can perform calculations, create charts and so many things with this. So you can create Excel templates with a defined structure, and once you have done the structure, it is useful for you and your team, then you can start sharing it with other users in the organization so they can also use the Excel template to analyze data. So there are two ways you can create an Excel template. The first is from settings, templates, and then document templates. There when you click new, you will get a chance to either create Word template or Excel template. So for this you need to have system customizer or system administrator role. The other way is from the list of records for any entity. So for example, if you want to create an Excel template for accounts entity, you need to go to accounts in your web application, and from there you can click Excel templates and create Excel template. So I'm going to show you how you can do that. So after that you need to select the view as well as edit columns to download the Excel template for that particular entity. After downloading, you can create pivot charts, pivot tables, and even use formulas to analyze data. And once you're done with the template, you can upload it back and share with others. So let's see how you can do that in Dynamics 365. So here I am in Dynamics 365 application. So first way is to create from the web application. So I can just go to accounts. So if you want to create Excel template for accounts, we can do that, or let's create it for opportunities. So here we can say all opportunities, and from there you have Excel templates. Let's click download template, and we are going to download the template for opportunity entity, and click download. So it is going to save this opportunity with all the columns that you have in this view. After that, you open the Excel and make sure you enable editing, and now you can add formulas and other things in this. So maybe you want to add a new column, so let's give it a name, new column, and this column will calculate 10% of the actual revenue. So I can just put this as a formula for actual revenue into 10%. This is just to show you an example. May not be the great example, but this is just to show you how you can use formulas, and also you can create charts and pivot tables for this particular table. If you want to do it on the same sheet, make sure you do it above this table. Otherwise, if you do it here, when you get new records in opportunity, it will override the chart or anything new that you have created, and you will not be able to see that. So have a good space. So let's select this data, and let's click recommended charts. So here you can see you have few recommended charts. So I'm just going to use the first one and click OK. So this is a chart which is count of topic by status. So I can change it. So opportunities with statuses. Okay. And I'm just going to cut this from here and paste it here. Okay. So similarly, I can create another one, or I can just add more data. So we can add data labels. You can also add pivot table and other things. So you can have the Excel sheet with all the formulas and charts and pivot table defined. And once you're done with this, you can just save it and close it. And now from there, you can click Excel templates and upload template. So let's click upload template. You need to select the file. So the file that you have modified is here, opportunity. Click open and click upload. So it has been uploaded. Now we click view template. So you need to make sure that it has a proper name, so it's easy for you to identify what it has. So opportunity, status, chart, and data. Okay, you can save it. You can also give it a description if you want. Rest everything you can leave as it is. And if you want to share it with other people, you can just click share. Okay, they will also be able to use this particular template. You can assign it. If you don't want it to use, you can deactivate it or even delete it. So that's how you can create. Let's see how it works. So I'm going to go to opportunities, and for open opportunities, I'm going to change the status. So for example, for this one, I'm gonna say close as lost. So it's cancelled. Click OK. So this is now lost. So now let's see lost opportunities. So these are the lost opportunities. Let's click Excel templates, and here we have opportunity status, chart, and data. So you can download it or you can open it in Excel online. So if you download it, it's gonna download the data in an Excel sheet. You can save that file and you can see. If you want to open it in Excel online, you can do that. So let's click open in Excel online. Here's the Excel. Now here you can see this, but this data is not updated. So what we can do is we can just click here and we can say refresh all connections, and now it shows only the opportunities that are lost, which are 12, right? If you have more records, it will be added below. It will not impact your chart or any other component that you have added. Plus on the right hand side, you can see the new column that we have created. It is automatically calculating the actual revenues 10%. So the formulas and everything works great in this. Let's close this. Let's export this to Excel. And here's the opportunity status and chart. Let's open the Excel sheet and let's just click refresh all, and you can see that the chart is updated based on the data that you have received here. So these are the two ways you can analyze data. You can share these Excel templates with your team, and they can also start using it and analyzing data based on their requirements. The other way to create Excel templates, it's under settings, business, templates, and document template. So you can see all the existing templates available. You can click new to create a new template. So you need to choose the Excel template. Same way, you need to select for which entity you want this Excel template and what is a saved view. So for example, all columns. If you want to edit these columns, you can just click edit columns, and here you can add the columns that you want to include. You can add them. You can also add columns from related entities, maybe primary contact. So we can say first name, job title, click OK. So now we have added these columns, we click OK, and then we download file. So when we download file, it downloads the same way how we have worked. And let's open this. So you can see that data is downloaded. So now we can again make changes. We can add rows, you can add some charts or something, close it. Here you click again new, it will be in Excel, and then you click upload. You click browse to select that particular file and click upload. It is uploaded, and now you can make changes. So give it a proper name, all accounts Excel template, save it, and now you can use this template. You can also enable security roles and give access to who must have access to this particular template, and only those selected security role users will have that access. Currently it's available to everyone, which we can leave as it is. Click OK. So go back to accounts, we go to Excel templates, all account Excel templates, and we can open it in Excel online, and you will see that information here. So that's a very good way to analyze and work with Dynamics 365 data, because most of the business users are comfortable with Excel, and if you can show them this feature, they will love this feature and they can increase their productivity and make good decisions based on the data from Dynamics 365. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this you will learn how you can create new entities or modify existing entities in Dynamics 365. So first let's understand what is Common Data Service, and then we'll see what exactly entities are in CDS. So CDS or Common Data Service lets you securely store and manage data used by business applications. Now please note that CDS is not just a traditional database, it gives you a lot more features than a traditional database. And entities are used to store data within CDS or Common Data Service. So if you consider CDS as a database, then you can consider an entity as a table. And when you install or sign up for Dynamics 365 customer engagement, you get a standard set of entities by default. So there's a standard set of entities available for Dynamics 365 customer engagement to work and provide the base functionality. Please note that you can customize most of these entities, and also it allows you to create new custom entities based on your requirements. For example, if your client is using sales module and they need one more entity which is not available in the standard set of entities, then you need to create custom entities based on their requirements. So that entity also becomes part of CDS or Common Data Service. As I mentioned earlier, CDS is not just a traditional database, it also provides you inbuilt security based on roles. So you can define multiple security roles as per your requirements, and you can assign those security roles to users, and based on those security roles, a user can access data which is securely stored in CDS. Okay, so only the authorized user will be able to access and work on that data. So only the authorized users will be able to access and work on data. You can control security at multiple levels, so that's something we'll discuss later. For now, you can just know that CDS allows you to store and manage data, and entities are used to store that data in CDS. So if you want to customize or create new entities, there are two ways you can do that. One is you can go to the old settings that we have. So you can go to settings and customize the system, or you can go to settings and open a solution, and in that solution you can customize. Or you can use Power Apps and Solutions, or Power Apps and Data. Under that you have entities. So you can open that from make.powerapps.com. So that's a basic overview of CDS and entities. I hope you get the basic understanding. Now let's talk more about entities. So when you create a custom entity, you need to select entity type. So there are two entity types. Number one is user or team owned, and the second one is organization owned. So when you create an entity, you need to select whether this entity is going to be owned by user or team, or it will be organization owned. Now the difference is, if you select user or team owned, then the records in that entity can be assigned an owner. So each record will have an owner. A typical example of user or team owned entity is lead or account. So for example, if you are creating a lead, then you should know that who is the owner of that particular lead, means who is responsible to convert that particular lead to an opportunity and sale. So in those scenarios, an entity record must have an owner. When we talk about organization owned, it means that there is no single owner. It means it will be visible to all the users available in Dynamics 365 if they have been given access. So we'll discuss about the access levels and privileges when we go in security module. But for now, you can just understand that when you create a new entity, you need to define whether entity will be user or team owned, or it will be organization owned. So once the entity is created, you cannot change the entity type. Another type of entity is called activity entity. And there are several out of the box activity entities that you can see. You can even create custom activity entities. Activity entities are always user or team owned. So you will have to have an owner, and these will not be organization owned. So one of the examples of activity entity is an email. When somebody is sending an email, there should be an owner, right? So who is sending an email? Who is the owner of that particular activity? That's why activity entities are always user or team owned and not organization owned. And every activity entity has different time components like start time, end time, due date for completing that particular activity, and duration explaining how much time is spent on executing that particular activity. And you can associate actions with other entities using these activity entities. So for example, if you're working with a prospect and you create a lead, so in that you might have multiple conversations with that particular prospect. If you're having a phone call, you can record that particular phone call activity. If you are sending an email, then you can record that email activity. Or if you have an appointment, you can capture that, you can associate that. Or if you are assigning a task to a team member for that particular lead, that can also be done using activity entity. So some of the examples of activity entities are appointment, fax, email, phone call, task, letter, recurring appointment, etc. These are some of the base activity entities that are available. You can customize them, and also you can create new activity entities. So let's look in Dynamics 365. I'm going to show you how you can modify an existing entity, and also how can you create a new entity. Alright, so here I'm in Dynamics 365. So you can create new custom entities or even customize existing entities in two ways. One is going from the settings section, go to advanced settings. It will open Dynamics 365 settings. Under that, you can go to customizations and you can click customize the system. It opens the default solution, and from there you can click on entities or expand entities. So you can click new to create a new entity, or even you can double click any entity and open that entity and customize that particular entity. So that's a one way. Another option is you can go to make.powerapps.com or Power Apps Maker portal. Make sure you select the right environment here, and then from there you can go to solutions and filter the unmanaged solution. So you see only unmanaged solutions. You can open the unmanaged solutions and you can add new components. Whatever existing components that you have, you can customize them as well. Another way is you can go to data and click entities, and there you will see all the entities available, the ones that are available by default or the ones you have created. So you can see all the entities here, and from there you can customize the entities and also you can create new entities. So as a best practice, it is always recommended to create a solution for any customization so that you can group them and you can export them. You can go to solutions. Let's create a new solution here. Just give it a name, demo training solution. You can give it any name you want and select a publisher. So I'm just gonna select default publisher. If you want to create a new publisher, you can do that, so that the prefix of custom components are as per your requirements. Okay, so for the testing purpose, we're just gonna use default publisher, give the version as this one. We'll not make any other changes and just click create. So now we have created a new solution. It is here, demo training solution. In case if you want to filter it, you can just go to unmanaged and you will see that particular solution that we have created. Now it's time for you to add components. You can add existing components. We are looking for entities, so we'll just click entity, and here we can see all the entities available. I want to choose account, and also I want to add contact. So these two entities I want to add, account and contact, and click next. Now either you can choose to import all the components that are dependent, or you can just include only these two entities. So we'll just say include all components and click add. Now these two entities are added, so you can click on the particular entity and there you can see all the fields and other components. So if you want to make changes to the existing entity, you can click on settings, and there you can change the display name and plural display name. So this will be used for forms and this will be used for views. So you can see list of accounts in a view and you can see account as a single record. Please note that you can't change the name which is already defined. Also, there are certain settings in entity. Once you enable, you can't modify them. Once you enable attachments, you can't make changes to it. You can make changes to the description. Entity ownership, as we discussed. So this is the standard entity and user or team ownership. So once defined, you can't change it. Then there are collaboration features. So wherever you see the plus sign, once that setting is enabled, then you can't disable it. So before you make any changes, make sure you're confident because there is no rolling back. So these are different settings available you can define, and the other settings are enable quick create forms, duplicate detection, enable change tracking for flows, and enable Outlook with offline capabilities, right? So that's how you can make changes to the existing entity. Plus you can also add new fields to an existing entity. So you can click add fields, which we'll discuss in the coming videos. We'll also discuss about the relationships and other components. That's the way you can modify an existing entity. So you need to add that particular entity in a solution so that you can package it and you can export the solution and import it in the desired environment. Or you can also create custom entities. So you can click new and you can click new entity and give it a name. So let's give it a name. We want to create an entity called training where all the trainings will be captured. The plural name is trainings. If you want to change it, you can. And please note that the prefix has come from the publisher that you have selected for this solution. And please note that this name cannot be changed once you click create. Okay, so make sure the name is desired, the primary field. So by default the field is name, so we can just change it to say training name. So this also cannot be changed once you have created it. And you can go to more settings, description, you can define as you want. The important component here is entity type. So entity type is either standard entity or activity entity. So if you choose standard entity, you have option of user or team and organization. If you choose activity entity, you will notice that only user or team can be selected. So let's create a standard entity which is gonna be user or team, and other features we can enable later. We don't have to do it now if we are not sure, right? And that's it. These are the only things you need to define, and click create. So you can see now the entity is created and the provisioning is happening in the background. So currently you can see only 3 tabs here: field, relationship, and keys. But as the provisioning is happening in the background, it will populate some more components. So we'll give it just a few seconds to a minute, and let's refresh. And here's the entity. You click on that and you will notice that a set of standard fields are created by default. So these are the fields that are required for this entity to work. So these are created automatically by system. There are some relationships created, business rules are not there. Some views are created, which we discussed before. Some forms are created. A dashboard is not there, chart is not there, the custom key is not there, and there is no data. Then you can add new fields as you want. You can add new relationships, business rules, and the components to this particular entity. Once you're done with the changes, all you need to do is you need to publish all customizations, and this training entity will be available to all the users, access defined in their security roles. Okay, so administrator will see this particular entity, but for other users you need to manually enable in their security roles. So let's click publish all customizations. So the customizations are published, and now you can enable this entity for the app that you want to display, and users can start using it. You can also customize an existing activity entity. So you can click add existing entity. So let's search for a phone call. So we'll just enter call here, and here we are. So we just add this particular existing entity, include all components, and here we are. So this is an activity entity, and how do you know this? You can open this particular entity and click settings. Under this entity type and ownership, you can see it's activity entity and user ownership. How do you see activity entities in Dynamics 365? For example, you are in leads and you open any lead, and in here you can click on this plus sign and you will see all the activity entities available. So for example, you can just click phone call and you can create that phone call, and it will be associated with this particular lead. We can just say outgoing test, save and close. So this activity is associated with this particular lead. If you want to create a new activity entity, all you can do is you can just click entity, give it a name. So you just give it activity test and in here all you need to do is make this entity type to activity entity, and you will notice that there are few settings which you can't change. So this is enabled by default, attachments include nodes and all, and you will notice that these are the already enabled things. You cannot make changes to some of these settings, some you can enable and disable. So I would highly recommend you to create activity entity, add this to a model driven app, maybe Sales Hub, and see for yourself how it works. So that's how you can create a custom activity entity. So this was the basic overview of what is an entity, how you can modify an existing entity, and how you can create new custom entities. Plus we also discussed about activity entities and how you can customize an existing one and how you can create a new custom activity entity. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this you will learn Dynamics 365 bulk record deletion. So we'll discuss about why bulk record deletion is required and how you can do that in Dynamics 365. So Dynamics 365 bulk delete wizard allows you to define criteria to find records, the records that are no longer required or the records that have become inactive, the records that you don't need anymore and you just want to clean it up. So you can find those records using bulk delete wizard and you can bulk delete them. So when you create a new bulk delete job, you are going to select an entity for which you want to delete records. You are going to define the search criteria like how we did for duplicate detection. Similar way, you are going to find the search criteria and then you can schedule bulk deletion job. So either it can be immediately that you want to immediately run bulk deletion job, or you want to schedule it for a specific time, or you want to have it on repeated occurrences in days you can define. It is always recommended to schedule the bulk deletion job when no user is working, so there is no additional load on the system and users can work. When nobody is working, then you might want to schedule the bulk deletion and then system will delete all the unwanted records. And you can also define email notification settings. So once the bulk deletion job is finished, you can notify the owner of the job as well as other people required. So this wizard creates a bulk deletion job as per the settings that you have defined and it runs in the background. So if you want to check the status of the bulk deletion job, you can do that. You can check whether it succeeded or failed and error description if it is failed. So that's something you can check. One of the most important reasons to have bulk delete wizard and use it on periodic basis is to do periodic cleanup so that you have right data in the system for the right reporting and decision making. So bulk record deletion can really help in this scenario. So let's review how it works in Dynamics 365. So here I am in Power Platform Admin Center, and I have selected the environment, then settings, and under data management we have bulk deletion. So let's click bulk deletion and here you can see all the jobs and the status reason. So if you want to create new, you can just click new here, and here you need to define the criteria and then schedule. So let's click next. So you select the entity for which you want to run this bulk deletion. So let's try for accounts and we want to check inactive accounts. Okay, you can apply any other filters that you want. If you want to preview records, you can do that. You will see records. You can go back to query, add move conditions and filters as per your requirement, and once you're done you can just click next and then just give it a name, a meaningful name so you remember it. So we can give it a name like inactive account deletion every 7 days. So either you can run immediately or you can schedule it. So schedule it on a specific time and then you can define that it runs every 7 days. That's something you can do, and you can send an email once the job is finished, and also you can notify other people. So let's click next and then we can just click submit. So here it is. You can check that inactive account records which is running every 7 days, it is succeeded. And if we go back to accounts and check for inactive accounts, you don't find that account which was inactive, so it is deleted now. And now this job will run every 7 days because that's how we have defined it, and it will delete all the inactive accounts every 7 days, right? So if you want to check this, you can just see that here. In case if you find any errors, then you can check them under failures, and here you will see the error description. Then you can correct the errors and schedule the job. And if you want to see the waiting recurring bulk deletion job, you can see that this is waiting right now. And then what is the next one? It gives you the next date and time when it is going to run again. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll discuss Dynamics 365 admin role assignment. So in order to give access to any user of Dynamics 365 application, you need to follow steps. First, create the user in Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and then you can assign the license, and then you can assign security roles. So as I mentioned, in order to give access to Dynamics 365 customer engagement apps, you need to add users in Microsoft 365 Admin Center, which was earlier called Office 365 Admin Center. So please note that you cannot add users directly to Dynamics 365. And after adding a user in Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you need to assign Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement Plan license. And once you assign the license, then only it will be synchronized, the user will be synchronized and added to Dynamics 365 users, where you can assign them security roles and define the permissions so they can perform actions and operations as per their business role. There are multiple Microsoft 365 admin roles, but the ones which are associated with Dynamics 365 are: first is a global admin. The person who signs up for Microsoft 365 Admin Center or Dynamics 365 becomes the global admin. The person who has global admin role is the super user. The next one is billing administrator. So a person who has billing administrator role can manage billing, purchases, and also subscriptions. Then you have user management administrator. So a user who has user management administrator can manage users, assign licenses, update, change password. So those kind of things can be done by user who has user management administrator. And then we have Dynamics 365 service administrator role, which allow a user to manage Dynamics 365 tenants, instances, perform multiple operations to Dynamics 365 admin environment. So these are the different roles associated with Dynamics 365. So let's have a look at this. First, you need to go to portal.office.com. So when you go to portal.office.com, you will see all the apps available, and you can click on admins to open Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So it is at admin.microsoft.com/admin portal, right? So this is a Microsoft 365 Admin Center, which allows you to do all kind of setups. So if you want to add a user in Dynamics 365, then let's check here and go to security and users. Let's select enable users. So you have two users, Abhay Sharma and James. Okay, so these are the two users who have access to Dynamics 365 application. We can assign security roles. So you will notice that if you click on new here, it will ask you to add users and assign licenses in Microsoft Office 365 admin portal. So you can't add users from here. You need to go back to admin center, then click on active users. So here you will see all the users that are available. Let's click add a user, and let's give it a name, David Smith. Display name is David Smith, and login is just David. And then we can give it auto generated, or we can just assign the password. So let me just assign password here. So if you want the user to change the password when they first sign in, then you can enable this, and you can also send password in email upon completing this process. So based on your requirements, you can check that. Let's click next, and then it asks you to assign product licenses. Now please note that if you don't assign Dynamics 365 customer engagement plan license, this user will not be synchronized to Dynamics 365. So let's assign this license, and also let's assign Microsoft 365 E5 license, which is Office products. Now we don't want to assign the Power Automate free. If you want to see the apps available inside it, then you can just check that, and you can enable or disable as per your requirements. Just click next, and then here you have the rules. So if you don't want this user to have admin access, then you can just select this as user. But if you want this user to access admin center and perform admin actions, then you need to enable this admin center access. If you want to see what they do, you can just hover the mouse over information. So for example, if we say global admin, it says has unlimited access to all management features and most data in admin centers. If you just select user admin, it allows you to reset user passwords, create and manage users, groups, including filters. If you want to see everything by category, you can just expand this. Here you will see a lot more options. So you have Dynamics 365 admin. It basically gives full access to Dynamics 365 online, manage service requests, monitor service health. Similarly, these are for the collaboration purpose. The users who will manage devices, you can give them device access. If you want to make a user global admin, means the access right that you have as a global admin, you can enable this. Other one is billing admin and service support admin. If you want to just give read only permission and they should not be able to make any changes, then you can give them read only roles. And then security and compliances. For this user, let's give it Dynamics 365 admin. Then you can expand profile info and enter more information and then click next. And you can just review everything what you have done here. You can review the name and email address, check the password, it is a custom password. If you want to edit, you can just click edit. You can see the products licenses that you have assigned to this user and what is the admin role. Finally, you can just click finish adding. So now this user is added and the product licenses and the role is assigned. So in case if you want to save this setting and template, and then later point of time, you can just assign this template. So the new user will also have these product licenses and optional settings that you have given. So let's click close. Let's go back to Dynamics 365 and let's refresh here. So right now you see there is no David Smith user. So it may take some time for it to synchronize and visible in Dynamics 365. So let's give it a few seconds or a minute. And now you can see that David Smith user is created here. So now let's check the roles. So you can just select the user, click manage roles. Scroll down and you will see that this user is assigned system administrator because you have selected Dynamics 365 admin as the role, so it has been assigned as system administrator role. Now this user can access application and also manage instances and other things that can be done in Dynamics 365 admin center. If you want to make changes to the user, then you can click on the user. It shows all the information. You can click licensing and apps and you can make changes as per your requirement. And finally, you can click save changes. So that's the way you can manage users in Microsoft 365 Admin Center and also assign Dynamics 365 respective roles as per your requirements. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, you will learn about Dynamics 365 app for Outlook system requirements. So what are the things you need to make Dynamics 365 app for Outlook work for you? So just to give you a basic overview, the Dynamics 365 app for Outlook allow users to work on Dynamics 365 while they are using Outlook on desktop or web version. Okay, so they don't have to manually go and open Dynamics 365 application. They can work on Dynamics 365 right within Outlook. And it is very important to note that Dynamics 365 app for Outlook and Dynamics 365 for Outlook, which is also known as Outlook client or add-in, are two different things. So Dynamics 365 for Outlook is a client which you need to install on system where Outlook is installed, whereas in Dynamics 365 app for Outlook, you don't need to install it on the system. You can configure it from the server side. So when you enable Dynamics 365 app for Outlook, you can see that in the Dynamics 365 pane or window next to the selected Outlook email message. You can see Dynamics 365 app for Outlook and you can perform operations as per your requirements. And the latest release of Dynamics 365 app for Outlook, it works with customer engagement on premises and common data service. If you're using model-driven apps like sales or customer service, then you will be able to work with Dynamics 365 app for Outlook. So now let's compare Dynamics 365 app for Outlook and Dynamics 365 for Outlook features. So here's the list of features available. So I would highly recommend you to spend some time looking at each feature and see which one is available in app for Outlook and which one is available in Dynamics 365 for Outlook. The major one is work offline. So Dynamics 365 for Outlook supports working offline, but Dynamics 365 app for Outlook doesn't support working offline. Also, Dynamics 365 for Outlook doesn't work on Outlook on the web and doesn't work on Mac and phones. But Dynamics 365 app for Outlook work with them. So spend some time here and see the comparisons so you know that which application to use based on your requirements. Now let's talk about the Dynamics 365 app for Outlook requirements. So it works with Dynamics CRM 2016 online update or December 2016 update of Dynamics 365 online and on-premises, and you need to have server-side synchronization enabled for incoming emails, and you need to have this use Dynamics 365 app for Outlook privilege enabled in security role that is assigned to a user. If you don't have that, then user will not be able to work with Dynamics 365 app for Outlook. Plus, you should also give read and write privileges to the following entities. So under business management tab, mailbox, Under customization tab, you need to give read and write privilege to entity, field, relationship, system application metadata, system form, user application metadata, and view. So this is the Dynamics 365 requirement for app for Outlook to work. Let's talk about email server requirements. So you need Exchange Online or Exchange Server 2016 or Exchange Server 2013, CU14 or later. If you want to check the latest updates that Microsoft release, then please follow the link available under resources. Let's talk about the email client. So Outlook 2019 of Outlook 2016 MSI version this or higher on Windows 7 or higher operating system with IE 11 installed. It also works with 2016 Outlook C2R version 16.933302073 or higher with 2013 MSI version 15 or higher on Windows 7 or higher client with IE 11 installed. It works with Outlook for Mac, Outlook for iOS with Exchange Online on Apple iPhone 6s or higher running iOS version 8 or higher, and for Android, which is running Android version 4.4, 5, 6 and 7. And the supported web browsers are Microsoft Edge with Exchange On-Premise 2016 or higher or an Exchange Online, Internet Explorer 11 with Exchange On-Premise 2016 higher and Exchange Online, and Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox with the latest updates. So these are the requirements of Dynamics 365 app for Outlook. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, you will learn about OneNote integration with Dynamics 365. So OneNote allows you to gather your thoughts, ideas, research, drawings, etc. in one place in Dynamics 365 model-driven apps. You can create OneNote notebooks for each record in Dynamics 365 and capture all those information that you can't usually do in Dynamics 365 record. It's a great way for you to store more information and in the format that you like. So the use cases are you can take notes when you are in call with customer, or if you are having a team meeting, then you can keep notes there. You can discuss ideas with the team, and there are many more scenarios that you can achieve using OneNote notebooks. So OneNote integration is available with Dynamics 365, which is native integration like SharePoint. To enable OneNote integration, you need to first enable SharePoint integration. So it is mandatory. OneNotes are stored in SharePoint that are created. So you need to enable OneNote integration. That's the first step. And then you need to select the entities for which you want to enable this OneNote feature. So that's something we'll see. You can also enable OneNote integration for an entity from the customization form. If the document management has already been enabled, you can go to customizations, select the entity, select the customization form, and from there you can enable the OneNote integration. So whenever you open a record and you click on the OneNote tab or select the OneNote tab, a notebook is automatically created, and that OneNote notebook is stored in SharePoint, and you can start capturing your information and other data that you like to store. So let's explore OneNote integration with Dynamics 365. So alright, so here I am in Power Platform Admin Center. We selected the environment, click settings. Under integration, we will go to document management settings, and here we have OneNote integration. So you need to make sure that SharePoint is already integrated, and then you can set up OneNote. So let's click on OneNote integration. And here you need to select the entities for which you want to enable OneNote feature. So we can select the entities as we want, right? So I think that is all good. Let's click finish. So now the OneNote integration is enabled for those entities. Let's go to Dynamics 365. Let's refresh and let's select any account, maybe Coho Winery sample. Let's click plus sign, add info and activities, and click OneNote. So when you click OneNote, it will open the OneNote notebook in new tab. So now you can see that you have Coho Winery sample is the account, and under that you have untitled page. So here you can put information like meeting notes. You can capture meeting notes. You can insert picture, file, link, audio, and you can capture anything that you want because this is stored in SharePoint. You can do formatting, you can insert table, and you can do so many things with this. If you want to create a new page, you can do that. So you can add new deals, and similarly you can keep adding new pages as you want. If you want to see the notebook for any other record, you can just select that. So for example, Alpine Ski House, and that will be available. So you can keep updating information as you like, and once it is done, it is automatically saving. So you can just close it, and that data is stored in OneNote and also linked with this particular account. If you want to open the notebook again, you can again click plus and OneNote, and it will open the same record where you can see all the data that you have captured before, and you can continue from where you left last time. So that's how you can integrate OneNote with Dynamics 365 and make use of OneNote functionality. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll discuss about Power Automate flows. So Power Automate, which was previously known as Microsoft Flow, is an online workflow service that is used to automate actions across multiple apps and services. If you've heard of a very popular service called Zapier, so this is something very similar to Zapier. And there are hundreds of services available that you can connect and start using it to automate actions. So it works with online as well as on-premise applications, and some of the examples of Power Automate flows are like you can send an email notification when a high priority case is raised in Dynamics 365. You can also send notifications when a particular condition is met on a record, so that's something you can do. You can also copy an attachment, email attachment to OneDrive for Business account when an email is received with attachment. You can create a lead automatically in Dynamics 365 CRM when someone tweets about your company. You can also send a message on Slack when Power BI data alert is triggered. So it's not just for Dynamics 365, but Power Automate flows can be used for many applications that are available. Or you can add a subscriber to your MailChimp email list when a customer shows interest in a service. So these are some of the examples that you can use to automate certain areas of your business. I would highly recommend you to start exploring this because this is going to be the future. A lot of new features and functionalities and things are coming up in Power Automate flows. So make sure you are well versed with this and experienced with this. So in the coming videos, I'm going to show you how you can use Power Automate, how you can create Power Automate flows, and how you can do it from scratch. And we'll see how you can export and import. So this is how the screen looks like, and we'll be discussing about this in the coming videos. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll discuss about Dynamics 365 solutions. As you know, Dynamics 365 is highly customizable application. It means you can build the functionalities or customize the application as per your requirements if you don't find that particular feature in existing product. So Dynamics 365 solutions are used to create, package, and deploy Dynamics 365 customizations. It means you can create customizations in a solution. You can package the customizations so that you can export it or import it, and you can deploy the customizations to another environment as per your requirements. And when you sign up for Dynamics 365 trial, a default solution is installed and is available out of the box. Default solution contains all the customizations available for Dynamics 365. And a solution can be exported as managed or unmanaged solution. Please note that default solution cannot be exported as managed, right? So solutions, once it is exported, you can import that particular solution in another environment as managed or unmanaged. So based on your requirements, you can do that. In the previous videos, we discussed about what is a managed solution and what is an unmanaged solution. In this module, we will discuss them in detail. Also, it's not possible to export a managed solution. So if you import a solution as managed solution, and if you want to export that solution again, you can't do that. So only an unmanaged solution can be exported. So let's talk about what are the components available in solution. The first one is schema. So in schema, you see entities, fields, relationships, and option sets. And then we have user interface components. In that we have forms, views, charts, ribbon, dashboards, and sitemap. The next one is process or code. So in this we have workflows, dialogues, plugins, business process flows, business rules, actions, web resources, and SDK assemblies. So these are the components that support the schema and user interface for functionalities. The next one is templates. So templates include mail merge, email, contract, and article. The next we have is security. So in security, the components are security roles and field security profiles. And finally, we have miscellaneous. In that you have connection roles, solution publisher, settings, and reports. So when you are customizing any of these components or creating any of these components, you can include them in solution and you can export the solution and import it in a different environment. So it is very important for you to understand what you can include in a solution and what you cannot. So now let's talk about different types of solutions. As we discussed, we have two types of solutions. One is managed and another is unmanaged. You can use the managed solution to distribute the customization as a whole solution. So if you have done any customizations or built any product on Dynamics 365 or created a new feature that can be used by other organizations or your clients, then you can use managed solution to distribute the customization as a complete solution. And the managed solution can be uninstalled. It means you can remove it from Dynamics 365 environment, and once you remove it or uninstall it, it is gonna remove all the customizations related to that solution. So you don't need to manually go and remove each customization. Everything is installed when you uninstall managed solution. And please note that users cannot make changes to the components available in the managed solution. Also, please note that managed solution cannot lock the system entities like contact, account, lead. So whatever the system entities that are available, managed solution cannot lock it because these are the basis of the application, and Dynamics 365 doesn't give the permission to lock these entities. So managed solution can only be created when you export a solution. So when you're trying to export an unmanaged solution, you will get an option to either export this as managed or unmanaged. And if you choose managed, then it will be exporting the solution as managed. There is no way to manually create managed solution in Dynamics 365. And as we discussed, managed solutions cannot be exported. So this is all about managed solution. Let's talk about unmanaged solution. So unmanaged solution is a solution which is under development or isn't intended to be distributed, that you use for development purpose and you don't want to roll it out or distribute to other people or other organizations for them to use. And whenever you create a new solution in Dynamics 365, it will be an unmanaged solution. You can install an unmanaged solution, but all the customizations related to that solution will remain in system and they become part of default solution. So you need to manually go and remove each customization if you choose to install unmanaged solution. And as we discussed, you can export unmanaged solution as unmanaged or managed. So if you are planning to distribute it to your clients or maybe want to sell it as a subscription, then you definitely want to export the solution as managed. Or if you want that anybody can make changes to your solution, you can export this as unmanaged solution. So based on your requirements, I would highly recommend you to consider these factors and see which one you want to choose. And the question is only for when you export the solution. Alright, so this is all about solutions. You got the basic understanding what is a solution, what is a managed solution, and what is an unmanaged solution. So in the coming videos, I'm going to explain you each one in detail and we'll see the practical scenarios. Alright, so welcome to this tutorial. In this we'll discuss how to configure custom help. So as you know, Dynamics 365 is highly customizable and configurable solution. So you can implement Dynamics 365 for almost every industry, and based on industry there might be some additional requirements that are not available in Dynamics 365 as a base product. So for that you might need to customize Dynamics 365 and implement those functionalities. And when you do that, you are going to create multiple custom entities and features and show them how it works. So Dynamics 365 has base help feature available for the out-of-the-box entities, but in case if you create any custom entities or custom features, then you need to provide custom help for the customized entities. So you can create a custom help website or portal for the custom entities that you have created and provide a global custom help URL under environment, settings, product, and features. So here it is. You can go to the environment, settings, features, and that you can enable help feature, which is custom help, and give it a URL. And also you can append parameters to the URL. So that's the one way you can configure custom help. You can also configure custom help from another place, which is called system settings under administration. So you open that system settings under administration, and under general tab you can enable custom help URL, and you can also append parameters as per your requirements. So to test, you can open an entity and click the help icon from the right top side of the screen, it will replace the existing help link provided by Microsoft. So let me show you how you can configure that in Dynamics 365. So here I am in Power Platform Admin Center. Let's select this environment, click Settings, and under Product we have Features. Let's select Features, and in here you have Custom Help for customizable entities. You can turn this on and give the URL, and for the test purpose let's enter google.com. okay, but you will be entering your portal URL where you have the knowledge base available, right? You can also append parameters to this URL. Once you're done, you can just click Save. Similarly, you can do the same thing from Settings, Administration, and System Settings. So in System Settings, in General tab, you can scroll down, you can enable Custom Help, you can enter the URL and parameters to the URL. So you can do it from here or from Power Platform, one of the same thing. So let's see how it works. And for example, if you're in Accounts, and if we click this help sign, it will open google.com. So this is a custom help URL that we have entered, and it has passed these parameters. So when you are creating custom help, you can catch these parameters and you can display help regarding that particular record, right? So similarly, you can do it for contacts and for other entities. Just click the help sign and it will open the URL along with the parameters. And if you don't want to use it, if you want to disable it, you can just go back and you can disable this, turn it off, save it, and let's go and refresh, and you can click this help sign. Now it will open Microsoft Dynamics 365 documentation provided by Microsoft, right? So that's how you can enable custom help and create a portal for your customer so that they can get customized help for the new entities or new functionalities.